Hey, what's up and welcome to Game Positive. Square Enix and PlayStation recently announced that Spider-Man will be coming to Marvel's Avengers in 2021 and that it will be exclusive to PlayStation. And I have some stuff to say about that. I'm really excited about Marvel's Avengers. I plan on it being a big chunk of the content that I create on this channel. My first experience playing it is going to be in the next 10 days when the beta comes out for PlayStation on my PlayStation 4 Pro. But this news is really upsetting to me. In fact, my first gut reaction was to just move on to something else and maybe not buy it, maybe not cover it. Because it's just such a gut punch to fans of Marvel, fans of Crystal Dynamics and their past work, just fans of gaming in general. But before I made any harsh decisions, I wanted to sleep on it. And ultimately, my response to this news is that I'm going to still buy the game on Xbox. Still plan to play the game with whatever friends I have that don't cancel their pre-orders. A lot of them are pretty upset about this, so I don't imagine everyone's going to still pick it up, at least the people that I thought would pick it up. And I'm still going to make content around this game. Why? It's because the people that created these heroes that we love, the people that are huge fans of the source material who probably viewed this project as an opportunity of a lifetime, the people that spent close to half a decade working on this game day in and day out, whom, based on the War Table streams we've seen recently, clearly worked their butts off to make their vision into a reality, they had nothing to do with this decision, and ultimately they would take the brunt of the damage if there was some kind of mass boycott in purchasing this game. Because this decision, it doesn't benefit Crystal Dynamics at all. And they are the ones that are going to have to take all of the negative response from the news, from the fans. Their social and community teams are going to have to be addressing this for months and years to come, just like Bungie did. And I don't know. I don't want them to go through that because this is probably something that came up late in development or relatively late in development. And again, it's not anything that they controlled at all. It's not a benefit to them. This decision is what I'm getting at. And this decision also doesn't benefit gamers. It certainly doesn't benefit gamers on Xbox or PC for obvious reasons. But it also doesn't benefit PlayStation gamers either. Having Spider-Man be exclusive means he's going to be very limited in how he will be able to tie into the overall narrative in the game for the sake of continuity between platforms. This game is still releasing on Xbox and PC, and they're not going to split the narrative in two different directions. That would just be not a great idea for one, and it would just be a lot of extra work for the sake of one character being exclusive. The same thing happened in Destiny. In Destiny, Sony had exclusive strikes and exclusive weapons, and those weapons could never be sold by Xur, which was a lot of people's main way of getting exotics, and those strikes could never be a weekly Nightfall, which was the funnest way to play any strike content in that game. Those things would kind of be in stasis for a year or however long the exclusive window is until they would be able to cycle into the ways that people kind of played with other weapons and other strikes that weren't exclusive. And I honestly even question how this benefits Sony. Sure, game journalists and games media folk or influencers, etc., they obviously have all the different platforms, and their group of friends who may or may not be influencers as well, they most likely have access to all the different platforms. So it is within the realm of reason where they could at the last minute just decide to play on PlayStation because of this. Although I would question whether all content creators or streamers would do that, because it's a lot easier for them to create content or stream, and they can stream at a higher quality on their PC. However, I mean, it's yet to be seen how the PS5 would kind of come into that. But as of right now, with the PlayStation 4 and the PC, it's a lot easier to make content and stream on a PC for them, especially considering most of them have several $1,000 rigs. But for the everyday average gamer, the decision on which platform they were going to play this game on, that decision was made a long time ago. I decided I was going to play Marvel's Avengers on Xbox on November 9th, 2004, when Halo 2 came out, and me and my friends fell in love with Halo and fell in love with Xbox, and have been playing games together on Xbox ever since. Like, we got Destiny on Xbox because of Halo and our like history with that console. It's our preferred platform. I still play games on PlayStation, and so do they, and they have Nintendo Switches as well. But like, the Xbox is where we play games together. So multi-platform, multiplayer games we get on Xbox. And there's a ton of people that have that same kind of history or same story with PC or with PlayStation. So they already were going to buy the game on whatever platform they want to buy it on. Anyone I know that has a group of friends that all play on a specific platform isn't going to be swayed one way or the other because a character is coming however many months down the road. So sure, there's a few people that would have maybe purchased it on PC or purchased it on Xbox, and now they're going to go to PlayStation because of Spider-Man. But I think the mass majority of the people already knew where they were going to play it. And honestly, the mass majority of people were probably already going to play it on PlayStation, just for the simple fact that there's more people with PlayStations, and PlayStation in general is more popular than Xbox right now. So I don't know how useful this exclusive deal is, especially considering all the negativity that is now coming Sony's way because of this. And on top of that, they have the whole DualShock 4 not supported on PS5 controversy that I'm not going to get too far into, but it's at this point that negative press is kind of just piling on. Ultimately, the only people that truly benefit from something like this is like Square Enix and Marvel executives, because that money just goes straight into the bank for them at the expense of the players. I mean, I'm not trying to say that Sony has no fault in this, because they absolutely do. They are enabling like this type of, let's call it greed from publishers, even though I hesitate to say greed, because like they're just doing their job. Like, as executives of a publisher or of a IP holder like Marvel, like their job is to gain as much money as possible for their shareholders. Like, that's how business works, and this is a good way to do that. So it's hard to fault them for it, even though obviously it's not ideal for us as gamers or fans. But yeah, I think that Sony may really need to kind of rethink this strategy. I mean, Sony is dominating this generation, and they're going to head into the next generation probably dominating that as well, just because they're riding the momentum from the PS4. But they didn't get to this dominant position because they had exclusive strikes in Destiny, or because they paid to exclude Spider-Man from PC or Xbox. They are dominating right now because they showed up in 2013 with a box that's sole purpose was to play games, a box that was more powerful than its competition and significantly more affordable than its competition. They spent the next few years after that matching and then exceeding their competition's like first-party output, games like Bloodborne and the early Uncharted. And then they continued the generation by releasing games that were like better than myself or a lot of people probably could have ever imagined, with stuff like God of War. Their focus on creating exceptional gaming content is what got them where they are right now, and not their focus on exclusion. If anything, the focus they've put into exclusion has only gained them negative press. It's just that their first party exclusive games are so good that even the negative press that comes along with their exclusionary practices isn't enough to overcompensate for that. Their games speak for themselves, and their games is what got them to where they are. I think on What's Good Games, the last episode, the most recent episode of What's Good Games, Andrea Renee said that this game of Marvel's Avengers has kind of been in development for a really, really long time. And this exclusivity deal was likely signed early on in development, at least like at the executive level. So it could have been something that was put in place like well before the gaming climate started to shift away from this practice. A lot of that is spearheaded by Xbox and its effort to put the customer first and kind of make gaming more accessible to more people. So we can only hope that Sony realizes like that it's the games that got them there and not this type of stuff, and that this type of stuff really kind of angers the community. And this deal was just so old that it's just had to happen. I mean, maybe it's timed exclusive and they're just not revealing that yet. Who knows? But we can only hope that Sony realizes that this is just angering a lot of people. It's kind of making them look bad. And really, like, how much is it really helping their sales? I think that this game was going to be a huge success regardless if Sony had exclusive rights to Spider-Man. I think that this game would have sold more on PlayStation than anywhere else by a large margin without them having exclusive rights to Spider-Man. I think a classy kind of thing to do would have been to have like skins for Spider-Man that were exclusive that are based off of the PS4 Spider-Man. And just a side note about the Spider-Man for PS4, like the actual game, I'm totally okay with that. I mean, it is a bit strange that a character that was featured in a bunch of multi-platform games is all of a sudden exclusive, but like Sony like funded that entire game. It was made by a studio that later became a first-party studio, and honestly, I'm not sure that that game reaches the heights and the greatness that it reached if anyone else took that on, like Activision or whomever. So I have no problem with that. I'm so in love with that game. I'm very happy that that Sony was able to create that. But this is just different. This is a multi-platform game where everybody on every platform pays the same price, but they don't get the same content, and that is happening because Sony paid money to ensure that that would happen. Anyways, in closing, I just wanted to say to the creators of these heroes, the legendary storytellers that spawned these franchises, the developers that are working around the clock through the global pandemic to bring us this game, they don't deserve to face the backlash that a boycott would bring. And it's because of them that I will continue to be excited for this game. I'll still be buying this game on Xbox, and I'll still be creating content for this game. And yeah, it's sad, but that's all I have for now. Remember to have fun out there, and thank you so much for watching.